What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Pokemon Nordies, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am bringing you a budget deck centered around Excadrill all the way back from Primal Clash. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out quite a bit and lets us do more for you guys. And as for the question of the day, as you can see, I am running Dhelmise in this deck with the Steelworker ability. Your metal Pokemon do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. And that got me thinking, what other Pokemon are there like Dhelmise where you play them on the bench and it allows your Pokemon to do a little bit of extra damage? The ones that come to mind are obviously Regirock for fighting Pokemon and Deoxys for Team Plasma Pokemon. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything else, although I really feel like I'm missing one, and I'm sure that there is one or more like that. But what type would you like to see get this type of ability where you just play a Pokemon onto your bench and it allows a Pokemon of a certain type to be able to do more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon? Asking me, honestly, like, I know that this deck, that this type is good enough anyway, but I would have to say Dark. Just because, I mean, I love Dark, and I want it to be stupidly broken, and I feel like just being able to play Pokemon onto the bench and attack for more damage just would make it that much better. So, yeah, I would say that I would want Dark to have a Pokemon like this, but let me know what type you guys would want to have this Steelworker, Regipower, that type of ability, and then leave it in the comment section below. I'm missing one. I still feel like I'm missing one, and it's going to bug me that I can't remember what it is. But if you guys can remember, please let me know. Otherwise, it's going to drive me insane. But anyway, on to the deck. Like I said, it is centered around Excadrill. 110 HP, stage 1, with 2 attacks. One is Dredge. Search your deck for up to 2 energy cards and attach them to this Pokemon. I just want to let you guys know, in my testing with this deck, I have had a lot of trouble remembering that Dredge gets 2 energy cards. Even when it prompts me to grab 2 energy, I still only grab 1. I'm not sure why. It just hasn't clicked yet. So if I do that in the live, I apologize. Mach Claw is the attack that this deck is centered around, and it does 50 damage for 3 energy. It's not very good, but this attack isn't affected by any resistance, so it kind of helps out against lightning, but otherwise it's still just kind of meh. What makes Excadrill decent, I'm not even going to say good necessarily, but what makes Excadrill decent is the, what is that? Is that an Omega? Omega Barrage ability allows you to attack twice in one turn. So all of a sudden, Mach Claw with the right boosts can hit for enough damage to take some knockouts. Now we're pairing it, obviously, with the Dhelmise, like I said, to boost the damage output of Mach Claw, but I'm also pairing it with Eeveelutions. That way we can hit some stuff for weakness. And honestly, I'm kind of torn about whether or not I like Eeveelutions in this deck, and if I would rather maybe just get rid of them and then put a line of Octillery in place of Oranguru. But for the time being, this is what I'm going with. Couple Eeveelutions to be able to change Excadrill's type so that we can hit for super effective damage. And then Excadrill and Dhelmise to be able to hit for more damage, as well as Oranguru as the Pokemon draw support. As for the numbers of Pokemon, running 2-3 of Eevee and Eeveelutions. I'm running 2 Eevee just because, I mean, you can't have Eeveelutions without Eevee first. 1 Eevee is a little bit prone to being prized, so I decided to go with 2. That way we have one if we need one. And I'm actually using this Eevee from Ancient Origins, not the Energy Evolution, because as you can tell from this deck, we are only running Metal Energy, and I just realized I'm running a budget deck with Secret Rare Metal Energy. So ignore that. I tried to make sure that I wasn't using any Secret Rare items or using like full art supporters or anything like that, but apparently it just kind of went completely over my head that I'm using a Secret Rare Energy, so ignore that, pretend it's a regular metal. But anyway, as you can tell, I'm not running any fire, lightning, or water energy in the deck, so I won't be able to take advantage of Energy Evolution with Eevee, so I decided to go with the Eevee that has 1 retreat cost instead of the Energy Evolution one that has 2, and I actually highly encourage you to use this Eevee over the other one. And then 1-1-1 of Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon for Volcanion matchups, Jolteon for, well, Yveltal in any flying Pokemon, and then Flareon for the omnipresent grass Pokemon that you encounter in this current meta. And what's kind of cool about Excadrill with the Omega Barrage is that we are able to take multiple knockouts in one turn thanks to that. Against a grass deck, when I was testing it was against Decidueye, I kind of had a literally perfect setup. I had an Excadrill with a Choice Band, all 4 Dhelmise out, and an Eevee with a Flareon. Well, not an Eevee with a Flareon. An Eevee that had evolved into a Flareon on the bench. So I had just the absolute max damage output that I could get in one turn, which was 120. And I was able to back-to-back one-shot my opponent's 2 Decidueye that he had on the board just with Mach Claw. So that was really cool. Took a 4-prize turn. And that is the type of turns you can have if you're against a deck that runs a type of Pokemon that Eeveelutions are strong against, but also Dhelmise just increasing the damage output. And this deck isn't bad once you can get it set up, but in order to get it set up, it takes a couple turns, which can make you fall behind, so that's kind of dangerous. Running 2 Oranguru for the Pokemon draw support. I would rather have like Shaman or Octillery, but this is a budget deck. And Oranguru, once during your turn you may draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. Not super strong, but hey, any form of extra draw is especially nice, especially one that you don't have to just play down and it's a one-time use thing. Oranguru you can use every single turn. You can use multiple Oranguru every single turn. So that's just kind of a little minor way of having a small line of Pokemon that also can provide some draw support. 4-4 of Drilbur and Excadrill, absolute max number of these guys because we want the absolute max number of non-EX attackers, and 4 Dhelmise so that we can get the maximum damage output from our Excadrill every single time and most consistently. As for the items, running 1-1 of Switch and Escape Rope because things like Oranguru and Dhelmise, both of them have 2 retreat cost and are really, we don't want them in the active spot. We're rarely ever going to be attacking with them, although there have been times that I've used Oranguru to attack. But 99% of the time, you're not going to be attacking with either of these guys, especially also an Excadrill that you haven't powered up yet. Like, you have one powered up, and you have one that's just kind of sitting there because you've just evolved it. You can switch an Escape Rope out of that situation, go into the attacker that you want. 1 Field Blower to shut down, really it's to shut down Garbodor, because if a Garbodor gets set up, well, ability, ability, ability. All of those guys we rely on abilities for. So Excadrill, or having a Garbodor set up with an item that would shut down our abilities would really be detrimental to this deck. Field Blowers for that, and also just getting rid of items and stadiums that help my opponent. 2-4 of Level Ball and Ultra Ball. Just search options, get our Pokemon out as consistently quickly as possible. 1 Rescue Stretcher so that we can grab either 1 Pokemon from our discard pile or shuffle 3 into the deck. And I'm running a little bit heavier line of items just because this deck, if Garbodor hits for 200 damage, big deal. You're knocking out an Excadrill that you could knock out with like 7 items. Okay, yeah. If I had 7 items in the discard pile, my opponent would be able to knock out Excadrill anyway. I really don't have to worry about the EX or GX prize trade, so I'm able to run heavier line of items just because, I mean, we're going to be trading knockouts anyway. I just have to try to make him in my favor as much as possible. 4 VS Seeker to reuse all of our supporters, and as for the supporters, I went Bare Bones, 3-3 and Sycamore, and 2 Lysandre. Just, again, bare bones. I went with the absolute basic that I could. I don't have any tech supporters in this deck. I could theoretically see Olympia being used, but at the same time I want to have room for other stuff. Maybe get rid of a Choice Band for another Olympia, but at the same time I like 4 Choice Bands so I can get them when I want them and when I need them. So I would actually recommend just kind of a bare bones supporter line for this deck. 3 Sky Field because we want to have a ton of Pokemon out. We want to have Drilbur, Oranguru, maybe an Eevee, 1 or 2 Eeveelutions, and then a bunch of room for Dhelmise. So Skyfield, 100% the stadium to use in this deck. Just give you the most bench spaces to work with so that you can get set up optimally and with the most Pokemon that would benefit you in the best way. As for the items, running 4-2 of Choice Band and Float Stone. I can see running a little bit higher count of Float Stone. However, since we are running Switch and Escape Rope, I decided that, you know what, 2 Float Stone is plenty for this deck. However, if you find situations where you want Float Stone as opposed to one of these guys, maybe switch out Escape Rope for... Actually, no, I wouldn't get rid of Escape Rope. Get rid of Switch for Float Stone. That's what I would suggest, because Escape Rope can let you get some cheeky knockouts with Excadrill on damaged or Stage 1 Pokemon, or not Stage 1, basic Pokemon on your opponent's bench. So 4-2 of Choice Band and Float Stone, like I said, Float Stone for our heavier retreat costs, and Choice Band, 4 of them, absolute max number, so that we can Mach Claw for at least 80. With a Choice Band and a Dhelmise, we are going to be able to knock out the 180. With 2 Dhelmise, we'll be able to knock out the 190 and 200 HP GXs. So Choice Band, 100% necessary. I highly, highly recommend running 4 in this deck. And then as for the energy, 4 DCE and 6 Metal Energy, even though these are kind of secret rare. I'm too lazy to switch it to regular metal, so just pretend they're regular metal. That doesn't take away any from the fact that this still is a budget deck and works just fine without any expensive cards. But 4 DCE and 6 metal. Sometimes you have to dredge to be able to find that regular energy, but what's nice about dredge is that you can use a regular metal or a DCE, and dredge can search out DCEs. So yeah, that is the deck. Let's go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Darth Curry 99, and ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we are up against a quad Lapras deck, so this should actually be really interesting if I'm able to even do much of anything. I mean, I start off with a pretty solid hand. The thing is, I should be able to one-shot Laprases, and I mean, by one-shot, I mean 2-shot with Metal Claw, but okay, so, how do I want to play this? So I'm obviously going to play Oranguru down just to be able to draw cards. Let's play the normal metal onto Drilbur, just because, I mean, I don't want to play my DCEs until I'm ready to attack, because as soon as I play the DCEs, those things are going to get enhanced hammered away. At least this way I'm forcing my opponent to hit a crushing hammer, and I hit another Oranguru. That's fine with me. Let's go ahead and instruct again, see if we can get a supporter, get another Dhelmise, might as well play that down. And let's just end the turn right there. So, unfortunately it did not get a supporter, but it's still a pretty solid start overall. My opponent does just attach an energy. Yeah, I mean, I'm in a solid position. If I can somehow get like a, never mind. I was gonna say, if I could get an energy and then, well, not an energy. If I can get an Excadrill and a Choice Band, I would be able to win the game. But I get a Sky Field. So what I'm going to do is play that down there. Go ahead and play the DCE onto the Drilbur, because I can always just use Excadrill's other attack if I need to. There we go. Let's play that down. Level Ball, grab another Drilbur. Just, I mean, at this point, I'm really just trying to thin my hand down as much as possible so that I can potentially get a Sycamore or something. Or an N works too. And considering my opponent just collected, this puts him back down to a hand of 6, which is fine with me. Unfortunately, I do not get a Choice Band. However, I will be able to dredge into Mach Claw, so let's just grab 1 energy. Actually, I probably should have grabbed 2. Sorry, I'm really not used to being able to grab 2 energy and attach it to myself with 1 attack. So, I mean, definitely a misplay on my part. I really should have dredged for 2 energies. That way, even if my opponent hammers away 1, I still have... Well, there we go. There's the enhanced hammer. So, definite misplay on my part. Oh, no. Please don't hit this crushing hammer. Please don't. Oh, thank the Lord. Okay. So, I mean, I can at least still manually attach and potentially win the game. I draw into my Switch, which is nice. So, my opponent just attaches and Lysandre's... Wait, do I win the game? I think I win the game. I actually think I'm able to win the game off of this, because all I have to do is manually attach the DCE, switch into my Excadrill, and then I think 2 Mach Claws will be able to take out the Lapras. Yep, yeah, it will. So we actually were able to take a game off quad Lapras. I mean, granted, that's because my opponent didn't get another Lapras down, but you know what? We take those. We definitely take those. I'm counting that as a win, well, mostly because it definitely was a win, and able to overcome disruption, partially because Dredge was able to come through clutch, get a little bit extra damage onto that Lapras, to where we were able to knock it out with 2 Mach Claws later. So pretty short first match, but at least I still got to show off what this deck does, and yeah, let's go ahead and try to find another one. Alrighty, we found another one against Richard Sepelev? I have no idea. With a water deck, so Luckily, this one doesn't look like Quad Lapras because we saw the normal typing, and Quad Lapras does not run normal type. We do get to go first, which is even better for this deck because, I mean, want to evolve first, all that stuff. And we start off with a pretty nice hand. I mean, I like this hand. It is very, very nice. I'll be able to get energy onto Drilbur, be able to slap a Choice Band on there, be able to N. I'd like it if I could get a couple like Dhelmise or Oranguru or something like that on there. But, oh well. It's not too huge of a deal. And my opponent starts Glaceon. So this thing could be a problem. Unless I'm able to just... Okay, so I'm actually able to potentially one-shot this if I get a Dhelmise into play with Mott Claw. All I need is one Dhelmise, and I'll be able to one-shot the Glaceon with Mott Claw next turn, partially because of all the good stuff that I drew off of that, because I have the DCE, I have the Excadrill, all that stuff. So I'm in a very, very good spot. My opponent plays Manaphy down, plays Lapras. I mean, yeah, the Eeveelutions really will not be doing much for me at all this game. I won't be able to hit for weakness on anything except for maybe like a Shaman. Shaman's the only thing I could see my opponent playing down that I'd potentially be able to hit for weakness, but I don't know. I think it's just better overall if I don't play any of the Eeveelutions this game and just kind of leave them as discard fodder. And my opponent plays... Okay, so I mean, we're still against a Lapras deck, but it's not a Quad Lapras deck. Okay, so my opponent does just Escape Rope. That is a very good play. It keeps me from being able to... just straight up knock out the Glaceon, forces me to Lysandre that thing in later if I want to. I'm still going to have to target down the Glaceon, because once that thing starts Crystal Raying, it's going to be bad. It's going to be a very bad time. I get the Lysandre. So what I can do, actually, is just try to take out this Glaceon immediately. I mean, granted, I would have to two-shot it. I wouldn't be able to one-shot it. But, I mean, it'd still be a turn where I take a couple prizes. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and Drilbur, or attach a Float Stone on Drilbur, retreat into Excadrill, and then just go ahead and Lysandre up that Glaceon so I can just take it out with Mott Claw. I mean, yeah, once again, I would have been able to knock it out in one hit if I had drawn the Dhelmise, and I could have potentially tried to draw into that, but like I said, Glaceon is too big of a threat. Lapras still needs 2 more turns of attachments in order to be able to attack and knock me out, so I'm not worried. I took 2 prizes. I'm in a good spot. If I can draw into a couple Dhelmise, then I'll be able to knock out this Lapras. And my opponent plays in... Okay, so everybody apparently is playing Enhanced Hammer now. But okay, my opponent does just play a normal energy onto the Lapras. And no, please don't end me. I liked it in my hand. No. Well, Articuno comes down, and that could be a potential one-hit knockout with a single Mott Claw. So, I mean, that's something. I draw... Oh. Okay, so this is starting to look a little bit tricky. I'm going to have to Ultra Ball for an Oranguru. And then evolve one of my Drilbur, but in the process, I'll have to get rid of Drilbur and Excadrill. Which, I mean, I can always just Rescue Stretcher back, but my opponent plays Parallel City. I don't understand why you'd play Parallel City in that type of deck. I really don't. But for the time being, let's just go ahead and get rid of the Drilbur and Dhelmise. Dhelmise was like one of the things I didn't want to draw, because that was something, especially with Parallel City, that I wouldn't want to draw, because I need that spot for Oranguru to be able to draw cards. And I don't understand why you'd run Parallel City in a water deck just because both sides hurt you. But I mean, hey, apparently... I mean, I guess my opponent fears Mega Rayquaza. That's the only thing that I can think of. But okay, so I don't draw into a DCE. It means I will have to manually attach. And then I'm going to go ahead and dredge this turn, get a couple energy onto the field, get Excadrill, I mean, power it up at the very least so that I can get a Mott Claw. And yeah, this is only going to do 80 damage, but 80 damage is a whole lot better than 0. And even if he... Okay, how am I going to do this? If he knocks me out... Okay, he has to go for an Ice Beam? No, he has to go for a Blizzard Burn. In which case, his Lapras is not ready to go on the bench. So if I can somehow draw into a DCE, then I will be able to, knock out my opponent's Lapras. But, okay, my opponent does via Seeker. Please grab an N. My opponent, okay, gets Rough Seas too. I don't understand. I mean, Rough Seas I obviously understand. But, okay, my opponent does just N. I mean, that's fine with me. It gets me more cards. And, I mean, what I had in my hand was not particularly good. I get another Oranguru. Well, that's something. So I need... Okay, I need a supporter. Like, plain and simple, I just need a supporter right now. My opponent actually goes for the Ice Beam. Is he just trying to buy himself a turn? I guess. But either way, I can just Choice Band up Excadrill, play down the Dhelmise, play down the Oranguru, and then I'm going to fail the Level Ball just so I can draw 2 cards with Instruct because there's nothing I want to Level Ball for. But there we go. Okay, I get a Sycamore. That is phenomenal. So let's go ahead and play that down. See if I can get something that works. And I get a Switch. That works. That definitely works. So I will be able to knock out this Lapras this turn. So I am just going to go ahead and switch into my Float Stone Excadrill, retreat right back. And yeah, I missed a manual attachment for this turn. But what do I want to play? Do I want to play a Choice Band in case my opponent ends? Well, I guess it doesn't matter because my opponent just sees that I was going to be able to knock out the Lapras and he didn't have an attacker up and ready to go on the bench, so he decides to just concede. Cannot blame him at all for that. Excadrill was able to just run over my opponent. And that's why I think my opponent should have just knocked me out. Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to attack next turn. But that Excadrill was just sitting there waiting to attack. And if he didn't knock me out, then I did have the options of that switch play into something with free retreat. So, yeah, that was pretty solid. Second game, Excadrill able to come through, but Eeveelutions still haven't done anything. So, let's try to find one more good one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found one against Kamaroshi 22 with a, well, it looks like a Dark, Water, and Lightning deck. So, honestly, not fully sure what this is. I mean, it could be a... Wait, have I played this guy before? That name seems way too familiar. I might have actually played him. But either way, we start off with an Eevee, which, I mean, could be fine. I mean, the normal could be a Shaman, which would be really nice for Excadrill, meaning that I can knock that thing out in one hit with Mach Claw. And never mind, it's a Tauros. Oh boy. So, actually, Tauros can be knocked out in one hit with a Choice Band and 1 Dhelmise. I just can't attack into the Tauros without any regard for safety, so have to be careful about that. I start off with an Eevee, like I said, which, I mean, honestly, against water, against the majority of the meta right now, Eeveelutions really don't help all that much. I'm just thinking, as soon as I don't play them, I'm going to run into nothing but Decidueye decks, nothing but, like, Lurantis, Volcanion, all those different types of things that Eeveelutions would help with. So it's like, well, might as well. And in this match, Eeveelutions will be helpful because we do see that Shaman, and that Shaman looks like it is definitely about to come down. And we see the Reverse Valley. So it looks like it's a dark-centered deck. I mean, yeah, we saw the dark typing, but I mean, I thought that might have been just a... Oh, this is Zorua. So that thing's going to be annoying. My opponent just delinquents. Why? Okay, that play I don't understand. Let's get rid of the Vaporeon, the Field... I don't want to do this. The Vaporeon, the Field Blower, and the Ultra Ball. Just because, I mean, I can just Level Ball for a Drilbur and then go from there. And I even draw a Float Stone, so that's actually a pretty decent hand. Yeah, I will be giving my opponent a new hand, but you know what? I have to in order to get set up at this point and not just have my Eevee just get destroyed. So let's go ahead and end, see if we can get something good. And we actually do. That's not bad. What I can do is just go ahead and go into my Drilbur. Like I said, something's getting knocked out. You know what? Because Shaman will go down to a Mach Claw with 3 Dhelmise anyway. I mean, it needs to be a pretty specific situation, but because that seems a little bit more attainable than just getting a Jolteon out there and Eeveelutioning and whatnot. And plus, I would rather have Eevee go down to a Horn attack than one of my Drilbur. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do this turn. I'm just going to let my opponent take the knockout on Eevee. That's fine. He can take a prize. I need both of my Excadrill safe in the background. If I had like an Oranguru or a Dhelmise that I'd drawn into, then I would have put them up and saved the Eevee. Because, I mean, hey, it's always nice to have that lightning typing just in case I don't have the 3 Dhelmise and a Choice Band. But for the time being, I just had to let my opponent take that knockout and then hope that I can build off of something like that from there. Draw into a Float Stone. I don't want to play it. I'm just going to end my opponent. Yeah, it gives them, once again, gives them a good hand. But for the time being, I think that this is the better play. Get a Dhelmise. Let's Sky Field up, Dhelmise up, and then how do I want to do this? Let's Ultra Ball. Do I want to keep the Sycamore for next turn just in case? Because, okay, I can Ultra Ball for an Oranguru, kind of go all in on potentially getting this. On potentially getting the DCE and a Choice Band. I want to grab, I think... Actually, you know what? Let's just grab a Dhelmise and then Dredge this turn. I'm not going to Mach Claw because that would set me up. That would put me in a very bad position. Let's just do that. And then Dredge again. Just double Dredge. I mean, yeah, I could have done that. I could have done it twice this turn. I mean, I could have just done it once. But I don't know. I really just didn't need that. What am I trying to say? So I'm waiting to attack the Tauros until I can one-shot it. That way he cannot knock me out with a Mad Bull GX and get just all of my energy off the board. This way, well, if he has a Zoroark. Actually, no, Zoroark can't knock me out this turn. He does end me. That's okay, because, I mean, yeah, I had a Sycamore, but at least this way I get a better hand. That way I can play some stuff out before, and that's even worse. Never mind. I wanted my Sycamore back. Because I really do not want a Sycamore this turn, because that will get rid of 2 energy cards at the very least. What I can do is just play Drilbur, manually attach, and then attack, but that won't knock out the Tauros. So, oh, never mind. Okay, we're good. We're good. I'm fine with that. What a top deck. That was a gorgeous, gorgeous top deck. That means I definitely don't have to Sycamore. What I can do is just Mach Claw twice, knock out this Tauros, and just be powering up my Excadrill in the back and going from there. So, finally in a good position. We're finally in a good position. Yeah, my opponent took the knockout on the Eevee, but that is exactly why I decided to let Eevee just take the hit, because once again, I have Excadrill, and the more Excadrills I can get up and going, the better of a position I will be in. My opponent promotes his Umbreon. I'll actually be able to one-shot the Umbreon. Well, technically 2-shot. I will be able to knock him out in one attacking phase, is what I'm trying to say. What even is that called? Is that... That's not the battle phase, because that's a Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know. What is it called? Okay, yeah, there we go. There's a new question of the day, even though I already asked one. What is it called, like, in between when you're using a Pokemon with Barrage and attacking? Like, is it... It's not called the battle phase, because that just doesn't make sense. What is that called? I have, honestly, zero idea. What my opponent is probably going to do right here is... Wow, I is good at English. Yeah, he's going to just go ahead and Mind Jack, knock out my Excadrill. That is fine with me. As long as I draw into a Metal Energy, I'm going to be able to knock out this Zoroark break in one hit. Well, in one turn, that is. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm getting rid of 2 VS Seekers, which I really do not like, but I need that Metal Energy, and I don't get it. Oh, that's bad. That is very, very bad. Because, yeah, oof. So, what I might have to do is just kind of hedge my bets and go for a single Mach Claw. I can't play another Pokemon down, because then he'll 100% be able to knock me out with Mind Jack. So what I'm going to do right now is just go ahead and Dredge onto this Excadrill, and then go for a Mach Claw for 70 damage. I mean, I have to be careful about what I play down with Mind Jack, because at this point, he's actually not able to one-shot me with anything he has on the field. Mind Jack is only doing 100 damage, and so, I mean, Excadrill will live that, and then I'll be able to knock out the, Zoroark, and he gets rid of my Sky Field, not a big deal. Yeah, I have stuff in my hand that I kind of want to be able to play out, but at the same time, it's not the end of the world. He starts powering up a Zorua in the background. That thing, I'm going to have to address that thing too, because Umbreon is not scary at all, because I'll be able to hit that thing harder. And he plays down a Reverse Valley. He's going to be able to take the knockout this turn, actually. Crap. So I need that Metal Energy, and I need that ASAP. Otherwise, I am just going to lose. I mean, this will be my second Excadrill that goes down, and I will have only 2 left, so I have to go from there and wait. Why'd that only hit for a... My opponent played it the wrong way. Oh man, that is a big, big, big misplay by my opponent. Wow, that is huge. At this point, I don't really care about Mind Jack doing a ton of damage. So what I'm going to do is just play down a bunch of stuff. Play down a Oranguru, play down a Drilbur, play down a Dhelmise. I mean, yeah, I'm just playing down everything because at this point, if I can just continually stream attackers, I don't need to buy time anymore. I even get a Metal Energy, so that's pretty nice. Let's Choice Band up the Excadrill that's on the bench. And I have the Metal Energy for next turn. I actually don't want to... what do I want to do? Because he's going to have to promote something. This way I can hit... You know what? Let's do this. Might be a bad play on my part, but at least this way he either has to let Umbreon or Shaman take a bigger hit, or let Eevee or Zorua go down. And he's actually going to let Umbreon take a big hit. So that's why I decided to go with the Choice Band, because it forced my opponent, like I said, to either let Shaman or Umbreon take a big hit. Shaman actually would have been knocked out, but it would have forced Umbreon to take a big hit, or for my opponent to give me a free knockout on Eevee, Zorua, Shaman. And at this point in the game, with 3 prizes left, I'm going to have to knock out one of the non-EXs anyway. So if my opponent had just given me that, then I would have been able to just take a prize off that, and then be just that much, that much closer to winning the game with a Lysandre on Umbreon or Shaman, or when my opponent inevitably has to promote Umbreon to attack with it. I mean, we're just in a phenomenal position right now. Luckily, my opponent did let Umbreon take the hit, which I'm thinking he's going to be leaving out there later in the game. Because, I mean, that thing, maybe Shadow Bullet, or is he just trying to continually Mind Jack? Because Mind Jacking, I think, is his best play right now. It does knock my Excadrill out, and then only leaves a 1 prize attacker in the active spot, and there's no way I can just knock a Zoroark out with a single Mach Claw, so I have to be careful at this point. But I really do like my board setup. I have, well, that Excadrill just went down, but I have another one ready to go. Well, pretty much ready to go. All I have to do is attach the metal. I have another Drilbur that's on the bench that I can evolve into an Excadrill. I even get a Choice Band, so let's go ahead and... How do I want to play this? Yeah, let's Choice Band up the active. Yeah, this way, if my opponent, for whatever reason... Okay, I need a Lysandre. If I can get a Lysandre, I can Lysandre in the Umbreon and win the game. I unfortunately do not, so let's Ultra Ball, get rid of the Ultra Ball on the Switch. I'm going all in on trying to get this Lysandre right now. Because if I'm able to Lysandre in the Umbreon and knock it out, that is 2 prizes. Whatever my opponent brings in, I will be able to knock out and win the game. And unfortunately, I do not get it, but I do get another Dhelmise and an Excadrill. So, I mean, it's not all lost. Let's go ahead and just Mach Claw and knock out the Zorua and take a prize off of that. And actually, I just realized I should have evolved my Drilbur into an Excadrill. Oops. Oh well. Wait. My opponent brings up his Umbreon. I'm just going to be able to knock that out. Why would you do that? Oh, there's my Lysandre. But in that case, my opponent definitely should have just promoted his Eevee or his Zorua. I definitely disagree with that last play, obviously, because it just lost him the game. But I mean, hey, we were able to take a 3-prize turn with Excadrill. I consider that a win. Yes, my opponent did have a pretty huge misplay with how he played down the Reverse Valley, allowing my Excadrill to live another turn and get another knockout as well as a heavy hit off. So huge misplay there, and then at the end of the game, he might have just been like, you know what, screw it, this game is lost anyway, and promoted the Umbreon for me to be able to take the knockout. But regardless, that was the deck with Excadrill and Dhelmise, and yes, there were Eeveelutions in there, even though I never used them. Hopefully you guys have better luck running into decks that Eeveelutions help with than I did, but thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.